Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of 24 Frames Per Second, the only show constantly plagued by incompetent building management. That's right, I said it. It's year 3 here at the nice studio, but for some reason, our management doesn't understand that if you drill into concrete foundation, we can't record audio, so these things should be done in off hours. Many negotiations have been had with them. No solutions have been provided, mostly due to incompetence, not malice. They're nice guys, incompetence. Like I said, my name is Phil Balabanos. This guy right here,
Peter James.
Otis James, or as I like to call him, Chicken Little. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Chicken Little, yeah, that's right.
We've been off for a little bit.
And it wasn't my fault for a while.
No, this time I was the one who was felled.
Let me go through it. Peter had to travel for work. I mean, that's fine. These things happen. You got to make that paper boy.
Yep.
And then he got real thicky-like. And he was all like, oh, bro, I'm so thicky.
Yeah.
And I was like, you teased me to be made of glass, but you are broken like a chicken.
It got me this time.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's annoying because we
missed the Golden Globes.
We missed the Golden Globes. We missed the Emmys. But now we're just in time for the Oscar nominations. That's so annoying.
It's all his fault. We missed everything, but the Oscars are here, and really, those are the ones that matter. The other ones are like amuse-bouches for the Oscars, right? Like,
yes.
Really, they are.
So
hit me with that with your best shot.
Well, listen,
Fire away.
So I lost respect for the Golden Globes years ago, like a lot of people did, because it started to become...
Side question.
Yeah.
Were the Golden Globes not happening for a while?
Yes. So what happened
I never was aware. I don't watch these things.
Okay, so the Golden Globes were seen for the longest time as like a kind of precursor to the Oscars. You had a little bit of mix of film and TV.
Okay.
And it was a big star-studded event. What started happening and became really noticeable in like the 2010s is actors and films or whatever was getting nominated what was seemingly without reason.
Okay.
One clear example of this is, have you ever heard of the movie The Tourist with Johnny Depp?
Yes.
Not a good movie.
Bad movie. Very bad.
Johnny Depp was nominated for...
The Tourista movie that he did. Yeah.
He was nominated for a Golden Globe.
Sure.
For Best Actor.
Uh-huh.
So it started to become a whole thing about is he nominated just because the Hollywood Foreign Press wants to be around celebrities like Johnny Depp, or to be able to interview him?
So you think they were nominating people to elevate their event?
That's it. Something like that.
Red carpet effect.
So they got called out for that.
I didn't know that.
Egregiously, in the midst of everything that was happening, it became revealed that the entire Hollywood Foreign Press Association had not a single black member. Like not even one, and hadn't had one for quite some time.
But wait a second. The foreign press.
Yeah, no, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
Why is it called that? Are they American based?
No.
I've always wondered that. Like, I assume they were like Brits and Europeans.
Yeah,
like,
either way.
They don't like your movies.
Listen, at a time when the conversation really started becoming about more inclusion and equality, right? It became evident, and so they essentially jumped on the sword, like, we're going to shut down, we have to revisit this. They are now known as the Golden Globes Association or something like that.
Yeah, so how many years was it out of commission for? 4?
It was like, we had the year of COVID where they were just, I think they just announced the winners, like online kind of thing, like it wasn't an event. And then, they had gone away for a year or two. Anyways, they were back this year. They were plagued with comedian Joe Coy's horrid opening monologue.
Look, I could tell you before we could take a time machine, okay, and talk to Phil from 3 years ago.
Go ahead.
Actually, let's make it 4 years ago, when I was actually actively on an airplane watching Joe Coy's special.
Okay.
Next to my uncle, who's like, Greek and 55.
And not Filipino.
But he was loving it. He thought it was the funniest shit. That was my litmus test. I'm like, if this is working to this level, it's not working for me, but it's really working for him. That means it's ethnic comedy. That's his shtick. He's not going to be able to do crowd work.
Sure.
He's not going to be able to do a monologue. I could have told Joe Coy is the wrong place.
I have no issue with Joe Coy. I don't
have an issue with Joe Coy either. He's not. This is not Joe Coy.
Here's the thing. I don't even think this was him. What happens when you get a gig like this?
Everyone said no. That's why Joe Coy ended up there.
Right. And I think when you get a gig like this, also, they saddle you with a bunch of writers because they don't expect you to know every inside joke about.
You feel like Gervais had writers?
No.
Ricky just went up there.
Right. I'm sure he did, but like Ricky is also someone who doesn't need that because he didn't really care about like whose film did what.
I love the dichotomy of Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Like the stuff he would say, and people were like, he's so brave and stuff. I'm like, let's just think about this for a second. He's saying all these things, right? He's calling them pedophile.
Yeah.
Thank your God and your whatever. And he's saying all this shit. take your award and fuck off.
Yeah, yeah.
But they invited him back over and over
Because
again.
it became a talking point. It became water cooler conversation. It was like ratings.
But at that point, it's like the people hiring you are basically giving you carte blanche to make fun of everyone there. So is he being anything other than what they want him to be?
Exactly. And
And
look,
don't get me wrong, it was funny.
anybody who had a problem with that. I mean, look, what was the one that really like stood out? It was like, I think it was, I like my drink as much as the next guy, unless the next guy is Mel Gibson. And then he introduces Mel Gibson, which was so good. It's so good at the time, right? For like what was happening. It was fantastic. Anyway, so Koi bombs, but the ratings are up for the Golden Globes. Maybe
Well, it's his first year back too.
yeah, maybe people missed it. I don't know what happened. Now, the awards were pretty good, pretty equitable. I liked who won and all that stuff. We're going to get into it in a little bit.
Equitable in what sense?
What? In terms of this time, there was actually representation? Because there's a lot of films also, like for many years, this was an actual conversation. I'm not just saying it because it was a movie. Like you'd have years after years of straight white male actors being nominated for Oscars.
What channel do you think this show is on?
The Golden Globes is on NBC.
No, this show.
This show. Yeah. It's
We're
not
gonna
about.
get canceled from our.
Yeah. That's not what I'm talking about. I just actually mean that it was like, it's interesting to see other people that aren't Denzel Washington get nominated for stuff. That's it. Because for the longest time, that's really all it felt like it was.
He's awesome though.
He is awesome. There's nothing to take away from him. So good winners, though. I mean, also the movies that won, I agree with. The Emmys, which is obviously TV, had Anthony Anderson as a host this year. And one little shtick that I actually liked that worked for him, he said, we're not going to do playoff music. All right. He said, what's going to happen is my mom is in the audience and she's going to tell you to shut up and get you off thing. He goes, and don't play. And his mom gets up, and as he's doing this, she's like, enough. I want to go to the after party. Move on. Like, your monologue's done. He's like, Mom, not me. You play other people. And so it kept happening. It only happened once.
That's funny.
And John Oliver won his Emmy and specifically said, after thanking everybody, that I want Anthony Anderson's mom to yell at me.
Off, yeah.
So I'm just going to start listing off the Liverpool football team in order. And so goalkeeper, and he starts just naming them. And he's like, is she not here? Because I'll keep going. And then eventually she got up and yelled at him. And he said, thank you, Jesus, and left, right? Like the whole point.
Thank you,
So the Emmys were fun. You had some cool wins. Succession was the #1 winner. So in my opinion, one of the best shows, if not the best show of the last few years.
One of the best shows of the last year.
And now, which brings us to, you're not serious people.
Yeah.
It now brings us to those are the winners. It was
The Bear?
Succession, The Bear.
Are you watching The Bear?
No, I'm not. I know. I got to get on it. And I will.
They'll fuck you up though.
I have no doubt. And now here's you know what? Before I get to the Oscars, just because you brought it up. So The Bear season 1, people are saying it makes sense that it kept getting nominated in the comedy category. But they said as of season 2, they feel that no longer should be the case. Where do you stand on that as a viewer and fan of the show?
Look, it's funny, but I wouldn't call it a comedy at all.
So that's
it's not a comedy. It's a drama. It's a heavy drama.
So that's why some people are saying
fucking drama.
That's why some people are saying that.
Or is it dark comedy? I don't know. I would put it in the drama category.
All right, you ruminate on that for a bit. But those were the big winners. As we get into the Oscars,
It's a great show.
Now you're sitting with, all right, so Oppenheimer with 13 nominations. Second is Poor Things with 11 nominations. Then I believe is
Slip
Killers.
that in right before the finish line of the year.
Yeah, is Killers of the Flower Moon with 10 after that, and then it starts going to other films. One big surprise, which ended up getting Best Director nomination as well as Best Actress, is a film that I had heard of, but I didn't understand where it would sit in the conversation until I spoke to a big film buff who was telling me that it is his favorite movie of the year. It's L'Anatomie d'une chute, so Anatomy of a Fall, French-German production. It's almost like a court case where I believe, I might not know the log line really well, but I think it's a husband who dies and the wife being the possible suspect and the only witness being their blind child. So it deals with that.
Seems like a setup for a joke. But
it seems like a setup for a joke, but apparently it is a
I thought that it's in German. No, it's French.
It's in French and English.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I saw a trailer recently for the same premise, but I think it was in Swedish or maybe Danish. Like I was looking at indie films, European films.
It has to be that one, but maybe
there was just a scene that I watched that wasn't.
It's very possible. I mean, the lead
Or my
actress,
dubbing was on for some reason.
the lead actress. I forgot her name, but yeah, she's German, and is also getting a lot of praise this year. She didn't get nominated for that one. They chose to nominate her for Anatomy of a Fall, but she's had 2 films this year that have been in the conversation. The other one being Jonathan Glazer's Auschwitz camp drama.
Yes.
There.
What's it called?
I had the name 2 seconds ago, but yeah. So as we look to what the Academy is going to go with, predictions. I haven't seen everything, and I always make it a point before it actually happens to try to catch up on everything. So I still have Anatomy of a Fall. Even though it's not nominated everywhere, there's a movie called Past Lives that I also heard great things about. Mm-hmm. But the conversation is going to be dominated by, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Barbie. All right, those seem to be the big ones. Okay, a lot of controversy over, Barbie being the film that it is. And
I told you how I feel about this, and I'll say it on the show again.
Sure, go ahead.
So this is how I saw the memes, where Greta.
For those who don't know what we're talking about, Margot Robbie missed out on a Best Actress nomination, and Greta Gerwig missed out on a Best Director nomination.
But the film itself was nominated.
Best Picture,
Best Supporting Role.
Well, hold on, Best Original Screen or Adapted. I can't remember which screenplay it was. I think Adapted. Then Best Supporting Actor Ryan Gosling and Best Supporting Actress America Ferrera. So, among other nominations.
My opinion is that, and a lot of people told me that I only feel this way because I'm a man, and that's how I experienced the film. And I thought about that, and I tried to look at this as outside of my own perspective as I possibly can. I mean, as is realistically too. America Ferrera has a much better character arc. Like, she has more to work with than Margot Robbie did, right?
Okay.
Whereas the Barbie character, her arc is basically the America Ferrera character's arc, because she's just experiencing secondhand what that one's
Sure. Okay.
Without spoiling the film. It was really well directed.
We argued about this because
visually
I disagree with that statement, just because.
Don't think about it. I'm going to spoil the film a little bit, but
Sure.
you have all this Barbie magic happening through America Ferrera's character being a middle-aged woman, upset with her life. And it's seeping into Barbie, which is a really cool concept, by the way, from a writer's perspective. And then Barbie starts to get affected by this. Up until, as far as I can understand, in the logic of the film's universe, this has never really happened to a Barbie, right?
No, yeah, this would be,
But outside of what's happening and without external motivation, in a world where no one has real emotions, they're all superficial Barbie emotions, Ken is going through a fucking existential crisis, and he's being abused.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And he goes and
he feels he's being abused.
He was being abused.
How is he being abused?
How is he not?
He just had unrequited love. That's all it was.
Oh no, I don't mean that part. That's not the abuse. The abuse is that he doesn't know who he is. He can't do anything. He just beach.
He beaches.
He just beach. You can't past tense it. I just beach. But he can't do anything else but beach, right?
Right, okay.
Which is the whole, the flip side of the coin that they were saying, that women were, oppressed, they were in the kitchen and that kind of stuff. The weird choice of, I don't know why I went with kitchen, but that's the line they were playing. And then he goes on this journey, discovers the patriarchy.
Right.
And he becomes a supervillain.
Yep.
Who then becomes a good guy again.
Right.
I mean, not on purpose, but he has...
In the truest way of a supervillain, in that he's self-righteous.
Not actually... he's self-righteous. He believes in his cause.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He's, So that's a crazy cool story arc. To watch an actor do all of that. And Gosling does it really well. When Ken gets angry in that film, at Barbie especially, when he lashes out, that's a great performance. Well, it's no one told him he was in Barbie.
When you watch someone like Ryan Gosling,
but do you understand my point?
I do. I get your point, but I just want to just focus on performance something for a second.
Yeah.
When you watch someone like Ryan Gosling on a film like Half Nelson, which he was also nominated for, or Place Beyond the Pines, or Drive,
that's a great fucking movie,
right?
Place Beyond the Pines,
and you can see a dramatic depth that there's it's just. Yes,
this is not Ryan Gosling from Remember the Titans. Wait, is he in that?
Yeah, he's Remember the Titans, but or young
Hercules.
Young Hercules, yeah. Now
I really like Ryan Gosling as an actor. I think he's phenomenal.
Sure, Breaker High.
Breaker High.
So when we see these dramatic roles, there's this just under the surface intensity, which is amazing, right? when you see him do comedies, and here I'll look to
La La Land.
less La La Land. I'll look more to things like Crazy Stupid Love or The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Or Barbie in this. It's an understanding of timing that is so.
Yes, that is it.
And a complete lack of ego.
So there's to your point, there's a scene in Barbie where she comes to visit him at his Mojo Dojo. What is it called?
I don't remember now.
Casa house. The Mojo Dojo Casa house, right? The former dream house. And he comes, I don't know what he's doing inside. He's doing something, you can't tell. And he comes to the saloon door that
Right, yeah.
And he sees her and he goes inside and he has a fucking breakdown and he smashes shit. And then he comes back and he's like, hey. And it was and it's one take. It's not like a bunch of cuts. It's so well fucking timed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one cut where it cuts to Margot's reaction.
Yeah. But it's his timing is really, really good.
But I think it's unfair for me to give that opinion and someone to say, you just felt that way because it's your guide. Because he had more to work with.
Sure.
His journey is equally as important to Barbie's. Without him, there is no Barbie story in this movie.
In the world of the movie,
it's part of a story, right?
Agree.
Like there is a part of the story.
Look, it's interesting because Greta Gerwig co-wrote this with her husband Noah Baumbach. Noah Baumbach, who himself is an accomplished filmmaker. I mean, he was nominated last year for one of the most heartbreaking films. Did you watch Marriage Story?
No, I haven't seen it.
With Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
I know what it is, but
it is a heart-wrenching, beautiful film, but a painful watch, right? So, look, I knew on paper, I was like, because there was a time, man, where this movie that was bouncing around the idea of making a Barbie movie with Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We never got a reveal as to what. I don't think it was the same story, right?
Okay.
So who knows what that went. And I was like, okay, I guess. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not a crazy big fan of hers, but
neither am I.
When Margot Robbie took on the role.
I have to say, she was great in the most recent Trolls movie, which I watched with my children.
Your children? Okay.
Yeah, she was great. She was very
so tell me, was the NSYNC reunion worth the hype?
I didn't know there was hype. It just kind of happened because we watched it.
They recorded a new song. That's
whatever. It's a bad song.
It's not Bye Bye Bye.
But there was so many jokes, that were clearly geared at parents watching.
Oh, I love when movies do.
No, but they overdid it to the point where my kid's like, what's going on? Like, why is this? Why? Like, she was losing interest because it was way over her head.
Okay.
25 years over her head. So yeah, go on.
Okay, so we move on from Barbie I'll move on to Killers of the Flower Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon is a long movie. Now, the interesting thing about this film, years ago, and this is not what's interesting, just a little side note, we took my mom we were like at the Chapters or Indigo, the bookstore, and I don't know, she was like, I want something to read, and so she was picking up a couple books, and she picked up the Killers of the Flower Moon by David, someone I can't remember now, and she read it really fast, like faster than I'm used to my mom reading a book, and was like raving about it forever. Now, the thing about the book is that it tells this story from the perspective of the early FBI. Like the FBI had just kind of become a thing.
It wasn't even the FBI yet.
Yeah. And their investigation into what was happening, why were all these Osage.
I couldn't remember their name.
Yeah, the Osage members being
murdered.
Or killed or dying,
Unalived.
And so it really takes it from the perspective of this FBI agent and tells the story on a very investigation style.
Who plays the FBI?
So wait, they had written the film. So I think Eric Roth took over the script, and he wrote it based on the book, like that. And they're geared up. Scorsese is director, DiCaprio as FBI, and De Niro as who would eventually be revealed to be the villainous character. And then there's conflicting reports as to who was the first person or if it was a collective. But they sat there and they were getting ready to shoot this and just go, this is not the story we should be telling right now. We should shift perspective. And so they shifted the perspective and are now telling it a little bit more from the point of view of the Osage, which is a smart move. And then DiCaprio switched roles to play the nephew, and Jesse Plemons came on to play the FBI in a very truncated, in a very truncated and smaller role, because now that's not what this is about. The investigation doesn't even get mentioned until 3/4 into the movie, a long movie. Now, here's the interesting thing. Smart decision, makes perfect sense, not only for timing, but for acting as allies to the Osage Nation or to the people, and allows the story to be told in a very interesting, not often before seen way. That being said, and I'm going to get flack for this, and I think, is I almost, Paul Schrader said it too.
He's going to say something cancelable.
I really am curious because Scorsese's so good that like I can't help but feel that investigative part of it could have been not a better film, but I almost want to see that film also from that other perspective, right? Because
can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Has Scorsese ever done a serialized drama, like a series?
Well, he was involved heavily in Boardwalk Empire. He directed episodes of Boardwalk Empire.
He directed episodes.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
I think he directed the pilot.
He directed the pilot. That I remember.
And
yes,
a couple of others. Yeah.
Because I feel like he's making such long movies at this point. He probably has more on the cutting room floor. He should just do serialized.
People have asked him, and he really wants to focus. He's a big lover of the.
I know.
And that, I know. It's like asking Nolan to do it, right?
He would.
So now onto the Oscars. Lily Gladstone nominated for Best Actress. I can't fault that. It's an incredible performance. But you can't help but notice De Niro was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but no Leo this year.
It's okay. He got his one Oscar. He's done.
I don't think he needs one Oscar. Come on, Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the best actors.
I've never understood why he was snubbed so many times. Is it because there was just so many other good options those years?
Yeah. So here I'll give you this. My favorite story is
He won it for
The Revenant.
For The Revenant.
But I went to theaters to see The Wolf of Wall Street, another Scorsese 3-hour movie, and I walk out of the theater. I was with Dre, and I go, look, that's the guaranteed Oscar this year. There's nothing that can beat it. And then as the awards season started coming, I kept noticing that McConaughey was winning a lot. And I said, no, I hadn't seen Dallas Buyers Club, but again, true to my promise of trying to watch everything before the Oscars, I think it was a week before the Academy Awards, and I sit down and I watch Dallas Buyers Club. And as soon as that movie ends, I say to myself, you know what? No, Matthew McConaughey is going to win the Oscar, and deservedly so.
Amazing performance.
It's one of those years. Another time where I felt that is I left the theater having seen The Departed, and I was like, hey, I'm hard pressed to find a better performance this year. Now that was a year where it's 2006. DiCaprio had two films, The Departed and Blood Diamond. The Academy chose to nominate him for Blood Diamond, and I'm really happy he didn't win because it's going to be one of those situations of like. Remember when Russell Crowe won for Gladiator? You're like, that's cool, but like, is that really the film that's going to showcase the talents of Russell Crowe, right? Like, is that the performance that's going to stand the test of time? Because just a year earlier, he did The Insider, which is an arguably better performance by a country mile. It's so good. It's near perfect.
He plays the role of a lifetime. The way Ridley Scott made that film.
I disagree completely.
Bros still stand like this all the time.
Yeah, but that is a performance catapulted by the film, not reigning in the film. It's not.
I could say the same thing for like, I don't know, and it wasn't even an Oscar moment for Pacino as Scarface.
Yeah.
Like, Pacino became as Pacino, Scarface. Like,
right, but what I'm saying,
he's done so much.
But what I'm saying is, again,
when most people think of Pacino, they don't think of Heat. They don't think of.
They think of Godfather a lot. And
no, not anymore. I don't.
People,
think.
Yeah,
that's young Pacino.
Yeah.
That's young Pacino.
Today's people think.
Why can't I remember the name of the film? Because for me, when I think of Pacino,
Scent of a Woman, you think?
That's it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful movie.
It's these are all great examples. So, but again, it's one of these things that you don't want the film to catapult. It can happen, but then when I think Best Actor is an award, which again you can argue is there really the best actor or whatever, but you're thinking of performance. That's why they changed the best performance by a male lead, for Best Actor now, because that's what it should be. I'll never forget, a couple of years ago, I watched Birdman.
I still haven't seen Birdman.
Okay, so when Birdman ended, I was so emotionally invested in the film, and I still to this day believe that Michael Keaton gave the performance of a lifetime.
Was he nominated?
So he was, and it looked like...
The film won Best Picture.
Yeah, the film won 3 Oscars for Alejandro González Iñárritu. He won writing, directing, and Best Picture.
You have to say it like that?
I like saying it like that.
Alejandro
González Iñárritu.
González?
Yeah, González.
Is he Spanish or is he Mexican?
He's Mexican, so it's González.
So González, it's not González.
Yeah. So, and there's this heartbreaking moment. Now, you can probably find it online, but they're about to announce the winners. And the only real competition he had that year, not real, I feel bad saying that, but was Eddie Redmayne playing Stephen Hawking.
Sorry, I saw the meme you sent me earlier.
So Eddie Redmayne playing Stephen Hawking.
Well, that's all the time that the powers of be have allowed us to have.
No.
I could cut this out, but I'm gonna leave it because the disrespect. My name is Philip Balabanos. I promise we will make this up to you, and I promise my vengeance will be swift. Peter James.
I'm Peter James. I'm so sorry. I don't know how this happened.
I'm sorry. Let's flip this fucking table.
Don't flip your table.